You know when you're homesick, but you're still checking emails, responding to Slack messages, and feeling guilty for resting? Because somewhere along the way, someone convinced you that using sick days makes you weak. Yeah, that wasn't work ethic. That was conditioning. If you've ever dragged yourself to the office with a fever, worked through the flu, or felt proud of your perfect attendance record, welcome. You're not dedicated, you're exploited. And the company that celebrates your sacrifice, they'd replace you before your obituary went live. Because never taking sick days isn't about strength. It's about a system that taught you to confuse self-destruction with professionalism. And it's costing you more than you think. Quick note before we dive in. This video is for educational purposes only. If you're experiencing serious health issues, chronic illness, or burnout, please reach out to a qualified medical professional. This isn't a substitute for medical advice, just some psychology that might help you understand yourself better. All right, let's get into it. Here's what nobody tells you about people who never take sick days. They call it dedication. You call it responsibility. But deep down, it's fear wrapped in a work ethic. Fear that if you're not there, they'll realize they don't need you. Fear that taking a sick day proves you're weak. Fear that resting makes you replaceable. So you show up, fevered, exhausted, contagious, and you tell yourself you're being a good employee. But you're not. You're being compliant. And compliance isn't the same as dedication. Because the system didn't teach you to work hard, it taught you to feel guilty for being human. So let's talk about why your perfect attendance record isn't something to brag about. It's something to examine. Here's the thing. You've developed a martyr complex, and it didn't happen by accident. From your first job, you've been conditioned to see suffering as success. Coming in sick? That's commitment. Working through pain? That's toughness. Never using your sick days? That's loyalty. And every time you do it, you get rewarded. Not with money, not with promotions, but with validation. Wow, you're here even though you're sick? You're such a trooper. You never miss a day? That's impressive. And your brain learned. Suffering equals praise. Sacrifice equals recognition. Self-destruction equals value. Psychologists call this presenteeism, the practice of being present at work despite illness or other conditions that suggest you should be absent. And it's not just bad for you, it's expensive. According to research published in the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine, presenteeism costs U.S. employers over $150 billion annually in lost productivity. But here's what's even more wild. According to a study from Harvard Business Review, employees who come to work sick are actually less productive than if they'd stayed home. Translation? You're not helping, you're performing help. You coming in sick doesn't help the company, it hurts it. But they keep celebrating your perfect attendance anyway. Because what they're really celebrating isn't your productivity, it's your compliance. You've proven you'll put the company before your health. And that's not an employee, that's a resource they can drain without consequence. Every time you show up sick, you're not being strong, you're being trained. Yeah, trained to ignore your body's signals. Trained to feel guilty for basic human needs. Trained to believe that rest is something you have to earn instead of something you're entitled to. And the worst part? You're proud of it. You're terrified of being replaceable. Let's be honest about what's really driving you to work through the flu. It's not passion, it's panic. Panic that if you take a sick day, work will continue without you. And if work continues without you, maybe they'll realize they never needed you in the first place. Spoiler, they already know work continues without you. It continued before you got there, it'll continue after you're gone, and it definitely continues when you're in the bathroom for 10 minutes. So you drag yourself in, half functional, spreading germs, accomplishing half of what you normally would. Because in your mind, being there at 40% capacity is better than not being there at all. At least they see you trying. At least they know you care. But here's the reality. They already know work continues without you. Your presence isn't making you irreplaceable. It's making you exhausted. And the company? They're not impressed by your sacrifice. They're taking notes. This person will work through anything. We can push them harder. Research on workplace culture shows that employees who never take sick days are more likely to experience burnout, chronic stress, and long-term health complications. You're not building job security, you're building a medical bill. And the company you're protecting? They're not protecting you. According to a study by the Institute for Women's Policy Research, workers without paid sick leave are 3 times more likely to go to work sick and twice as likely to delay medical care. But even workers with sick days don't use them. Why? Because companies offer sick days with one hand and guilt trip you with the other. We're really short-staffed right now. I hope you feel better soon, but can you at least check your emails? Take the time you need, but we really need you on that project. That's not support. That's manipulation with a smile. Now here's where it gets really insidious. You've been taught that rest equals weakness. Somewhere in the cultural programming, hustle culture convinced you of a lie. That grinding through pain is strength. That never stopping is discipline. That rest is for people who aren't serious about success. And you bought it. You wear your exhaustion like a badge. You brag about how little you sleep. You compete over who's more overworked. I only slept 4 hours. Oh yeah? I didn't sleep at all. Amateurs. I forgot what sleep is. That's not a competition. That's a cry for help disguised as a flex. And you genuinely believe that suffering proves your worth. But here's what actually happens when you work through sickness. You don't recover faster. You recover slower. You don't prove you're strong. You prove you're willing to damage yourself for a company that doesn't care. You don't inspire others. You set a toxic standard that forces everyone else to perform misery just to keep up. According to research on recovery and performance, rest is when your body repairs, your immune system strengthens, and your brain consolidates information. Translation? You're not productive when you're sick. You're just present. And presence without productivity isn't work, it's performance. You're performing health you don't have. Performing energy you don't feel. Performing commitment to a company that would drop you the second you stop being useful. And the saddest part? You think they appreciate it. They don't. They expect it. Because you've trained them to. Every time you come in sick, you've taught them that your boundaries are negotiable, that your health is secondary, that you can be pushed past your limits without consequence. And now, when someone else takes a sick day, you resent them for it. I came in sick. Why can't they? That's not work ethic. That's trauma bonding. But let's clear something up right now. You're not loyal. You're being used. Because here's what nobody admits about companies that celebrate perfect attendance. They're celebrating the wrong thing. They're not celebrating health. They're celebrating compliance. They're not celebrating balance. They're celebrating exploitation. They offer sick days because legally they have to. But culturally, they punish you for using them. We're like a family here. Translation? We'll guilt trip you like family, but pay you like a stranger. We need team players. Translation? We need people who sacrifice themselves without asking why. Your dedication is inspiring. Translation? Keep doing this so others feel pressured to do the same. And you? You've internalized all of it. You feel guilty for being sick. You feel weak for needing rest. You feel selfish for using benefits you're legally entitled to. According to workplace psychology research, toxic work cultures thrive when employees prioritize company needs over personal well-being. And the system is designed to make you feel like it's your choice. But it's not. It's coercion dressed up as opportunity. You can take a sick day, but your team will struggle without you. You can rest, but your performance review is coming up. You can prioritize your health, but we can't guarantee your project will be here when you get back. That's not flexibility. That's hostage negotiation. And the worst part? The company you're protecting doesn't care about you. They care about what you produce. And the second you stop producing, you're gone. Perfect attendance doesn't make you irreplaceable. It makes you a liability they haven't replaced yet. And maybe that makes you feel uncomfortable. Maybe that makes you want to argue. But I love my job. But my team depends on me. But I'm not being exploited. I choose this. Okay, then answer this. If you collapsed at your desk tomorrow, how long before they posted your job opening? A week? A day? An hour? But here's what you can control. You can stop performing loyalty to a system that doesn't return it. You can use your sick days without guilt. You can prioritize your health without apology. That's not quitting. That's boundaries. Because companies don't shut down when people get sick. They don't hold vigils. They don't wait. They replace you. And all that loyalty you showed? All that sacrifice? All those days you came in sick? They don't factor into the decision. You were never irreplaceable. You were just available. And availability isn't the same as value. It's the same as convenience. Here's what they don't tell you. Rest isn't weakness. It's required. Sick days aren't a perk. They're a right. And the people who actually succeed long-term, they're not the ones who never rest. They're the ones who know when to. That's not laziness. That's wisdom. Yeah, coming in when you're sick doesn't make you strong. It makes you contagious. You're not protecting your job. You're endangering your health. You're not proving your worth. You're proving they can exploit you without consequence. And that perfect attendance record you're so proud of, it's not a trophy. It's a warning sign. Because the people who never take sick days aren't the ones thriving. They're the ones burning out. They're the ones in the hospital at 45 wondering why their body gave up. They're the ones who sacrificed their health for a company that forgot their name the day they left. So the next time you feel guilty for taking a sick day, remember, you're not weak for resting. You're smart. You're not lazy for using your benefits. You're entitled. And you're not a bad employee for prioritizing your health. You're a human being. In a system that profits from you forgetting that, choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. You're not the problem. The culture that made you feel guilty for being sick? That's the problem. One more thing before you go. If you're experiencing chronic burnout, serious health issues related to overwork, or finding it impossible to rest without guilt, that's bigger than just workplace culture. Please reach out to a medical or mental health professional for support. Your health matters more than any job ever could. Now tell me, team perfect attendance or team sick days are rights? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this video made you feel seen, hit subscribe. We're here every week breaking down the psychology of work that nobody talks about. Because understanding why you are the way you are, that's not just interesting, that's powerful.